Hello, hello, and welcome to today's episode of Brand OTC, where we answer your branding questions with a full over the counter product. Now, today we have a special product for you, which is a candy bar. Now, yes, candy is good in moderation, but it's very bad for your teeth and exceptionally bad for your business. So, we chose this particular product because, pardon my voice, we chose this particular product because a lot of you are eating up these misconceptions about branding, and I am here to set you straight. All right. So today we're focusing on the myth or misconception that you need to target everyone in your business. Now, we are not doing this, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's get into it. Hello, hello. My name is Cynthia Kita, and I am your brand strategist and educator here at the Design Firmacy. And again, today we're talking about targeting everyone in business. Now, I understand you. It's tough because when you solidify who your audience is and, you hone in, and some people use the word niche, but I don't like to dig too much into that area. Well, when it comes to your audience, you just can't appeal to everybody. It's not wise. It's not good for your money. I mean, I'm going to go through a certain amount of reasons why you shouldn't target everyone, but I just want you to understand that I understand you. It feels like you're creating some type of a mean kids club and you're excluding people. And I just want you to understand that when you are specifying your audience, the only thing you're doing is structuring your marketing and your messaging for people who actually want what you sell or whatever your solution may be. Now, you cannot speak to everybody in the same manner. I can't go over to a certain area in a country and speak English and expect people to understand me, right? I would probably have to assimilate to their culture and say something in their language for them to understand what I'm saying, or else they're probably going to look at me like I have eight heads on my shoulder, right? And in the same manner, it applies to your business. Certain experiences are exclusive to a certain group of people. I cannot talk to, men about what it's like to have, excuse me, a vaginal birth, right? Because they don't have that particular body part, right? And so we have to speak the language of our audience. We have to appeal to the experiences that they are actually going through that they can relate to. And so you just can't speak to everyone. Now, remember that it doesn't mean that they cannot buy from you. It's not like it's not like your website is like closed off to everyone else and it only allows a certain group of people to buy. Money is green, at least in America, right? And as far as you have a payment processor and a way for people to buy, they will buy from you. But you want to focus your efforts and your money in a very specific place in order to yield the return that keeps your business alive. And not just that, but you want to ensure that you are influencing and impacting the people that your heart truly wants to impact as you're building your business. So, let's get into those reasons. So, I'm going to go over 5 reasons why businesses should not, Lord, help me. 5 reasons why businesses should not target everyone as their ideal buyer. Okay, so number one is this: if you target everyone, you truly target no one. And the problem with this is that when you try to appeal to everyone, your messaging becomes very generic and it's easily forgettable because it's not specific. People want to feel personally connected to what you're doing, what you're selling, the cause that you're backing, which means that they're going to be less likely to engage if they feel that they cannot connect or they don't have anything to relate to you with. And so, in this area, you want to make sure that you have a very clear and defined audience that allows you to craft specific messaging. You have to be specific. I mean, how would you feel if someone was standing right in front of you and calling out to you, but calling a name that wasn't yours. Like, if your name is Anna, would you respond to someone calling you Sherry? No, you wouldn't, because that's not your name. That has nothing to do with you. And that's kind of how, that's the type of impact that unclear messaging or unspecific messaging will have on your audience. They'll feel like it does not apply to them. And that is just experiences, revenue, connections that are just going out the door because you refuse to be specific. Number two, wasted time and marketing dollars. Now, we know that building a business it can be costly. It requires investments, but you want to make sure that you're making the right investments. Now, the problem here is that when you're trying to market to everyone, it leads to inefficient spending. You want to make sure you're spending your dollars where they matter and in a manner where you're actually reaching the people who want to buy from you, who want to connect with you, who want to relate with you because they believe you have the solution to their issue. So when you're running ads, when you're creating content, when you're developing these products for a broader audience, all of those resources end up spreading too thin and it does not convert well, which relates to the amount of revenue that you will end up losing because your resources are just spread too thin. You cannot feed um, 16 cups of rice to 100 people and expect them to be full, right? So that's just an example of what I mean by your resources being spread way too thin. You want to make sure that you have a concentrated amount of ads, content that is going directly to the people who will benefit most from whatever it is that you're offering. So, if you focus on a targeted approach to your audience, it will ensure that your marketing reaches the right people who are actually going to buy. And that's going to maximize your return on investment, aka bring money through the door to keep your business alive and allow you to grow and build from then on. Number three, not everyone actually values what you offer, and that's just point blank, period, right? How many times do you go somewhere to a fair or, to some type of an event and you're given free stuff? And although we all like to get free stuff, if that item doesn't apply to us, it either ends up in the trash, it ends up in the abyss of trinkets that are just sitting in, room corners or in a random box or the back of the closet somewhere. These are all items that someone is hoping that you actually care about, right? But because it was given to the wrong audience, I mean, the return is not there. And so it's very obvious and it can be very true that some people just won't appreciate, need, or be willing to pay for whatever your product or service is because they're just not your target audience. So if you market to them, they'll either ignore your brand, they'll either expect unrealistic discounts because, again, they don't value it. So they won't see the value in paying for it, or they'll just, brush it aside even if they receive it at some point. It's not going to be something that they actually engage with, even if they sign up for it, especially if it's free, um, and experience it that way. So make sure that you can focus on those who actually see the value in your offer, in your service, and more so in your brand in its entirety, because you definitely want to find people who are willing to pay your prices, who see the value in your offer, your service, your product. And you also want to find people who actually align with what you believe in and what your mission is, especially if you're backing a cause. There's, excuse me, there's no point in trying to appeal to an audience that cares nothing about plastic affecting sea turtles or other other mammals in the sea, right? So if you really care about the longevity and the impact that your brand is going to make, you want to find the right type of people that are going to back you up. And so focus on building a targeted audience, because this will build a stronger brand loyalty, especially if you are, backing a cause or just for being an amazing brand. And it will allow people to stay and continuously, experience your business as time goes on. Number four, your brand will lose its identity. Now, I'm sure we've all met someone who we would say blows with the wind. Like they go wherever the wind blows. And that typically means that they don't have a firm footing. They don't have their own ideas. They don't have their own, essentially their own minds. They can't think for themselves, right? And you don't want to have a brand that is described as one that doesn't think for itself, or is not like they don't know who they are, exactly, losing your identity. So you're a brand that does not know who it is. And the issue is with that, sorry, is that when you're trying to cater to everyone, it forces you to water down your personality. It forces you to water down your messaging in order to avoid alienating other people or other groups. And the result of that, unfortunately, is that your brand is going to be inauthentic, it's going to be confusing, and it's just not going to stand out. No one wants to be around someone who is not firm in who they are. Like whether you have a bad attitude or a good attitude, someone will always like you because you stay true to who you are. And so you want to ensure that you're defining your persona, your personality, your brand persona, and you want to be speaking boldly and authentically to the right audience, because the right customers will connect with however you speak and the message that you're sending. Meanwhile, the wrong ones will, kind of like move out of the way and save you time, money, and effort in trying to relate with them when you're just not their cup of tea. And it is okay to not be someone's cup of tea. In the same way that we all know as individuals that everyone is just not going to like us, everyone is like, your brand is not going to be for everybody, and that is okay. It's not meant for everybody. It's meant for the people that it's meant for, literally. It's meant for the people who find value in it. It's meant for the people who are willing to pay for it. It is meant for the people who see the impact of what you are doing. And so don't focus on those who could care less about what you're doing. Spend your energy on the ones who do. I know a lot of times, like generally as human beings, the person who speaks negatively about us tends to get the most attention, right? But it should actually be the other way around. The people who actually love us, treat us well, and all of that should be the ones who get the most of our brain space, the most of our time, the most of our energy, because we should be able to feed off of all of that rather than feeding off on all the negative things on the other side. And the same applies to your brand. Feed on the people who actually care about what you're doing, who love what you're doing, who will tell their friends about what you're doing, who will shout on a mountaintop for you. Those are the people that you want to spend your time, your money, and your efforts with. And then number five, when you have a specialization or when you have a special or a targeted audience, it helps you to build authority and demand. Now, when you're so general, your brand will struggle to stand out in the sea of other competitors. And the market will continue to grow. It will continue to get more and more saturated. So if you don't have a clear group of people that you're speaking to, people are just going to view you as another option instead of an expert in exactly what it is that you are doing. So position yourself as much as possible as a specialist in your specific field, whether you're doing organic skincare, whether it's financial coaching for a specific group of people, whether it's millennials, Gen Z, the boomers, all of that. Be specific about who you're speaking to, because people trust a specialist and they're willing to pay higher prices for that specific expertise, for that specific niche or category of service. And so, to wrap things up, be very clear about your target audience, because it helps you to have a stronger message, better conversions, and a very loyal customer base because they know that you are talking specifically to them. Two, you want to focus on people who truly need, want, and value what you offer, and not everyone, because we've already gone through, the reasons why for that. So focus on the people who need you, the people who want you, and the people who ultimately value what you offer. And then make sure you position yourself as a specialist, because specialists stand out and they can command higher prices because they know exactly who they're speaking to, exactly what they're doing, and what they offer. So instead of asking yourself, how can I reach everyone? Instead, ask yourself, who is your brand truly for? The stronger of a brand you have, the better the impact. So I hope you enjoyed our episode today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Now, ask yourself, is your brand truly healthy, or are hidden issues holding you back? Too many entrepreneurs struggle with brand inconsistency, unclear messaging, and offers that don't convert. But now you have a chance to diagnose and fix these problems before they cost you more time and money. And we don't have too much of that, especially time, right? So I am inviting you to take the Brand Vitals assessment, where it is a medical style brand checkup that evaluates the 9 critical areas of your brand so that you can stop guessing and start making data driven improvements that attract more customers, increase trust, and boost conversions. So make sure you take your assessment today. Have you tapped into your Firmacy benefits? As a beneficiary, you unlock special offers, gifts, and always stay in the loop. Subscribe today to receive your exclusive dose. Visit firmacybenefits.com.